Koa Beck is on the line with us. Koa is a journalist, an author, a contributor with Salon.com, and wrote a recent piece, which was this is the second time in, I think, about 3 weeks that I've read a piece by Koa Beck that I just couldn't stop reading, that got my brain going in ways that good writing does and most people rarely do. And I wanted to invite her on to talk about this. Koa, welcome to the program.
Hello, thank you for having me, and thank you so much for your praises.
Well, you're a really thoughtful and brilliant writer, and you're dealing with some real issues of consequence. The article that just came out, America's New Relationship Trend, when husbands and wives aren't actually married, I found fascinating. I want to get into that. And then the piece that you wrote back in early December, I passed for white and straight even though I'm not, how looks hide my identity. If we have a minute, we only have 6-7 minutes here, but I'd like to just ask you a little bit about that. But let's start out. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Let's start out with this new trend, as it were. Now, I'm an old guy, right? and I'm noticing that in my generation, the people who are in their 50s and 60s, that there are people who are choosing to not be married, or to, if it's a second marriage or a first relationship after not being married, or even get divorced for tax purposes or Social Security purposes. But that's not what you're talking about here. This is a trend, by and large, among young people, among people in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah, it's primarily millennials, but I have seen, I spoke with people upwards of 40 who had made these sorts of choices. And what you're saying is absolutely consistent. You're a baby boomer, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I'm 62.
Yeah, and with baby boomers, what we're seeing is they are actually, by far and large, the ones getting the most divorces. And younger people around millennials and even Gen X's, they're embracing these sort of alternative models for relationships and family.
Right, and in both cases, not getting divorces because, hey, I'm sick of you, but getting divorces because there's a tax advantage to getting the divorce or a Social Security advantage.
I have encountered that in my research, yes.
Yeah, okay. Pardon my interrupting you.
It's all right. So specifically with millennials and Gen Xers, what we're seeing is families who are committed, who are monogamous, and who are choosing to entwine themselves financially, and who are even having children, but they are deciding not to marry, as one of my sources said. It's not so much a decision to marry or resisting marriage, but they haven't decided to marry. And they're having children, yet when they are in social settings, professional settings, they use this matrimonial terminology. They refer to each other as husband and wife. And that I found particularly compelling in that many of the couples I spoke to had a political resistance to marriage. They had an ideological opposition to either the institution or the language, and yet they chose to employ it. Which I find to be very telling about lingering stigmas, especially for women who have children and who are not legally married. Right,
the single mom thing that Jerry Falwell constantly railed against and that the religious right continues to. But on the other hand, marriage used to be a legal contract by and large, about ownership of women by men. But nowadays, increasingly, it becomes a legal agreement about who gets whose assets, who can visit who in the hospital, who gets to make end-of-life decisions. This is important stuff to set aside. Young people have strokes and accidents and horrible things happen to them as well, millennials and Gen Xers, where if you're not the legal spouse of a person, suddenly you're kicked out of the hospital.
Yeah, and I think it is telling that these are younger people who are making these choices. Who, as you said, have yet to run up against these sorts of things. And as this particular cohort ages with these types of relationship models, I'm going to be very interested to see what they eventually end up doing.
Yeah, because these are the main arguments that are being made by gay people for wanting to be married, by and large, and a lot of the gay people who are getting married are not millennials; they're boomers.
Right. Yeah, I believe the most recent statistics that I encountered. I mean, my piece was about hetero couples, but right now, most of these same-sex couples that are getting married in the United States have been together 10, 20 years, multi-decade relationships.
Right.
And what certain experts envision happening is that eventually that will level off, and then gay marriage will mirror that of straight marriage, and that it'll stall and be on a decline. But of course, we're not there yet. So
yeah, I think it's just a whole fascinating topic, and I don't know exactly where to go with it, or even that a position needs to be taken on it, other than, gee, this is fascinating. Check this out. We're talking with Koa Beck, her newest piece about marriage in the United States, over at salon.com. And then this previous piece, it was reprinted. I saw the reprint over at Alternate, and I know that they sometimes change headlines. I'm not sure if this was your original headline, but the headline and subhead over at Alternate was, "I passed for white and straight even though I'm not. How looks hide my identity. I'm neither straight nor white, but I'm frequently mistaken for both, and it's taught me a lot about privilege." And I'm curious, first of all, if that wasn't the original headline, could you give us that so people can find it at salon.com? And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, and then secondly, I was going to ask, what would you want to say to white people about white privilege? Because my experience has been, as a white guy, that most white people don't even understand what white privilege is.
Mm-hmm. Well, as for the headline, I don't remember exactly what the salon was, but it didn't deviate from the alternate one too much. It was essentially that same notion that passing provides me with these certain privileges. And what I would say to a primarily white audience, I've also encountered resistance to this idea of white privilege and also hetero privilege. And I would say that there's a lot of space and a lot of resources out there now that there haven't been, 50, 60 years ago, to really understand the privileges that you're imbued with just by embodying this cohort. And that some of the responses I've gotten from that essay have, of course, been, very typical in resistance. But I have also received emails from people who are white, who are straight, who saw through my sort of double consciousness in these roles, the privileges they have in their everyday life, and I'm happy to have had that impact on people.
Yeah, I'm not talking about pushback. I'm talking about just plain old ignorance. That the white people don't, you get these white people, these Tea Partiers who say, I brought myself up by my own bootstraps. And you were born white in a middle-class neighborhood with public education, a good public education. And they go, yeah, so? And you say, well, it's... And they just don't have the experience of what it would be like to be born poor and black in a neighborhood where the schools are falling apart, for example.
Yeah, and of course how, having lighter skin or being able to pass as straight, or, these are identities that when people read you as them, you are treated differently. And I know that can be rather abrasive for some people, and I have encountered people virtually who are uncomfortable with that notion, even being articulated in 2013, which is very alarming to me.
Yes.
That we choose very actively to live in the fantasy of equality for all, and it's very propagandistic.
Right, and I think a lot of people have not, even people who've thought about white privilege have not thought about straight privilege.
Definitely not. Yeah, and I encountered that with some people on Twitter who, are very, I would say, like racially literate,
right?
But who had not given a second chance to the fact that, when they are in public with an opposite-sex partner, that, if they hold hands or if they exchange a kiss, it goes unread. But, when I hold my fiancé's hand, it's absolutely charged in certain environments.
Yes, absolutely. Koa Beck, you are brilliant. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for having me.